Hey guys, good morning. How you doing? Today we're going to learn what to do with prepositions and adjective clauses, and I'm going to teach you academic English rules, which are used for academic purposes and formality. You don't hear people speak this way. Just so you know, there's a difference between communicative fluency, regular EFL, English as a foreign language purposes, and academic English, our formal writing, our TOEFL writing, our university writing, and writing in the professional world. So that's what we're going to learn. When I was a little girl, my dad had his own business, and it didn't do well, but we also had landlines, if you can remember what landlines are, and not cell phones. And if the phone rang, he trained us to answer in the following way. May I ask who's calling? To whom am I speaking? And to whom am I speaking is adjective clauses. It's the academic English. It's how to deal with a preposition and an adjective clause. Okay, that's your engagement. Haha. So before we get into the new stuff, let's revise the old stuff. Complete these sentences with the correct relative pronoun and then tell me whether or not you can remove it or omit it in each sentence. Academic English rules. So, humans aren't aware of smells which dogs cannot detect. You need to keep it. It's the subject, the relative pronoun which is the subject of the adjective clause. He's the guy who told me you know the answer. Who is the subject of the adjective clause? You cannot remove it. Is that the restaurant where they have good pizza? We're going to learn that you can substitute where with a preposition plus which. So you can also say, is that the restaurant in which they have good pizza or at which they have good pizza? In all these cases, you cannot omit the relative pronoun. Donald Trump, who will be the president from next month, aims to destroy the world by 2019. Obviously, I made this slide a while ago. It looks like he's certainly destroying America now. Anyway, who will be the president next month? You cannot omit it. The day when I met you was the worst day of my life. I can omit this one because when is not the subject of the relative clause. The day I met you was the worst day of my life. I can also substitute when for a preposition plus which. I can say the day on which I met you was the worst day of my life. I use on because we use ons with days of the week. And when a relative pronoun is the object of a preposition, you may not omit it because all prepositions have to have objects. Is this the topic which gave you trouble last semester? You cannot omit it. Tests which you do at the beginning of the semester can affect your grade at the end. Here you can omit the relative pronoun because you is the subject of the relative clause. If you don't understand any of these answers, please go back and revise earlier PowerPoints and then ask me a specific question if you're going to ask me a question. Do not say, I don't understand. The reason I demand that you ask me a specific question is that makes you start thinking, and that's part of the learning process. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Okay, guys, prepositions are those tiny words that cause second language learners big problems. I don't want you to get so focused on which is the right preposition. You'll learn it, but I do want you to follow this rule that prepositions always have to have a noun that follows them. It's called the object of the preposition. You can't leave a preposition dangling without an object. You can in communicative fluency because that's how people speak, but you can't do it in academic writing, okay? So there's the teacher, I spoke to him. There's the teacher to whom I spoke. I'm combining sentences using an adjective clause. Whom is our object relative pronoun? Just like we have subject relative pronouns, he, she, I, we, you, it, they. We have subject pronouns, we have object pronouns, me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Well, we have subject relative pronouns, who, which, And then we have object relative pronouns. Whom, which. So there's the desk. I put the test on it. There's the desk on which I put my test. I'm leaving out a step. You'd say there's the desk which I put my test on. But you can't leave on dangling without a preposition. So just move on over in front of which, because that's its object. There's the desk on which I put the test. There's the door. I entered through it. There's the door which I entered through. There's the door through which I entered. And that's it. That's the point of it. Just you need to keep the relative pronoun as the object of the preposition. You need to have an object after your preposition. Hey guys, we're back. I'm back. I want you to do these. I want you to pause the video and actually do these. I so know you're not going to do it, but you should do it. Anyway, let's say that magically you pause the video and you do this. Let me give you the answers. If you're still having difficulty combining sentences using an adjective clause, look at what words or ideas are repeated within the two sentences, because that's probably what the relative pronoun is going to replace, and that's your clue about how to structure combining these sentences. So I found a shirt in the corner. There was trash there. There refers to the corner, the second there. Remember that where replaces there when you're combining sentences. However, not the there and there was or there were, but there at the end of a sentence. So I found a shirt in the corner where there was trash. Full stop. We also know that we can use a preposition plus which to replace where. It's not any more or less correct. It's just an alternative. So I found a shirt in the corner in which there was trash, because the trash is in the corner. In this case, it's not a street corner, like I'll meet you at the corner of Solemn and whatever street. This is in the corner of, two walls in a room. So again, the prepositions of place, there's a little bit of flexibility with the rule, and you have to kind of pay attention to what you're saying. So, I found a shirt in the corner where there was trash. I found a shirt in the corner in which there was trash. Full stop. The next one. The 4th of July is a special day in the United States. Americans celebrate the country's independence on that day. I have the repetition of the word day, which means I probably want to think about using when as my relative pronoun. Also, remember this handy-dandy rule. Adjective clauses immediately follow the noun they describe. Yes, I am the ghost of your past haunting you. That is a phrase that is super useful. So, the 4th of July is a special day when Americans celebrate the country's independence in the United States. Or, the 4th of July is a special day on which Americans celebrate the country's independence in the United States. Or, the 4th of July, comma, when Americans celebrate the country's independence, comma, is a special day in the United States. Or, the 4th of July, comma, on which Americans celebrate the country's independence, comma, is a special day in the United States. Oh my God, the choices. What's happening? Remember, when can also be replaced by a preposition plus which. You have to go to your preposition rules for time. We use on for days. Now, I can make this a non-restrictive relative clause if I put it after the 4th of July because that's already unique. However, if I put my clause after day, it becomes restrictive or defining because I don't know what's special about that day. Maybe it's my birthday, right? So it could be special for a different reason. But the clause has to come after either 4th of July or day and not United States because Adjective clauses immediately follow the noun they describe. Doo-doo. That's the library where I do all of my studying. That's the library in which I do all of my studying. That's the library at which I do all of my studying. All of them are true. Since there's more than one library in a town, no commas. There's usually more than one library on a college campus as well. So again, no commas, it's restrictive. When I was at college, like 5,000 years ago, I used to go to the science library to study because the geeks went there and it was quiet and I was a geek. I've obviously just had some sugar and coffee. Hi, those are the guys on my basketball team. I play with them every weekend. You see that them with them? Doo-doo. Them is the guys. I'm probably going to use a relative pronoun that means people to combine these clauses. But with them is sort of hinting, hey, maybe I want to use an object pronoun. Those are the guys with whom I play basketball every weekend. You can combine like that and you're slightly changing the sentences. Or I could say, those are the guys on my basketball team with whom I play every weekend. The reason you can put the clause in one of two places is on my basketball team is actually a reduced clause, which ideally we'd get to in week 8 or 9, but I'm not sure we will. It comes from the clause, those are the guys who are on my basketball team. It's been reduced to the prepositional phrase. So those are the guys on my basketball team with whom I play every weekend. That's my friend. I cheated off his paper on the last exam. Don't cheat. Off of his paper is a clue that you might want to use possessive relative pronoun. So that's my friend. Off of whose paper I cheated on the last exam. Because you need to have an object after a preposition. Oh my God, there was so much in that exercise. I'm so glad I did it. I didn't do it. I need to rewind, go back and redo it and re-listen. Truth hurts and then you grow. So, are you doing this one? No. I think you should stop the recording again and do this exercise. It says complete each sentence 2 ways, one with a relative pronoun and one with preposition plus which. So either you're using where or when and then changing it to the preposition plus which. So Suli is a small town where nothing interesting happens. Suli is a small town in which nothing interesting happens. I did not make that up. I inherited this slide. HR is the department where you can get your student ID. HR is the department in which you can get your student ID. December 20th is the day when our Christmas break starts. December 20th is the day on which our Christmas break starts. Hollywood is the place where most big movies are made. Hollywood is the place at which most big movies are made. Hollywood is the place in which most big movies are made. Spring is the season when it rains a lot in this region. Spring is the season in which it rains a lot in this region. Remember, we use in with parts of the year. Christmas is the day when children all over the world get presents. Christmas is the day on which children all over the world get presents. And Pizza Hut is a restaurant where they serve bad, overpriced food. Pizza Hut is a restaurant in which they serve bad, overpriced food. Pizza Hut is a restaurant at which they serve bad, overpriced food. Game over.